Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today we have a fantastic video for you. Kieran, the co-founder, the brilliant mind behind Illuvium, is with us. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. It's awesome to be on the show.
We're going to talk about Illuvium and much more, so strap your seatbelt on because it's going to be one of those videos you don't want to miss. But hey Kieran, for those of whom they don't know you, do you mind to give us an intro and tell us about yourself?
Sure. So I'm one of the co-founders of Illuvium. I'm like CEO slash CMO. My background has been in startups. Since I was, I think, 22. I've been creating different projects and businesses. The one that I did before this was a food tech startup, and I'd always been dabbling in crypto ever since pretty much the birth of Ethereum. I've been trading it, and had a bit of a rough patch in the beginning. I didn't do so well trading, and so I left the space. I went and did a couple of other things, and then eventually back in 2020, early on, when the market started coming back, I got back into trading, and I was doing all sorts of stuff like with food coins, and then I stumbled upon gaming, and I've been an avid gamer all my life. I've absolutely, the amount of games that I've played is pretty crazy, and the amount of time I've spent gaming is probably not healthy. And I thought, if we could make a really good crypto game and add blockchain elements and have ownership and stuff like that, it would change the face of gaming forever. And now we're 4 years on, and here we are.
Amazing. And by the way, I think you are changing the game forever. I mean, my two Satoshis here. What you guys are building is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy that you are here because actually I don't game myself, so I'm not a gamer, but I can see beauty, right? I recognize when something is well done. So you guys are actually one of my favorite projects out there when it comes to Web3 because you got everything. Some people nowadays are saying, Web3 and games are not good enough. And I always say, hello, Illuvium, have you seen it? Have you seen what they are building? It's like an ecosystem of games. And it would be great if you could give us a 360 about the project, because I'm sure everyone knows, but coming from your mouth will be probably better than mine, right?
For sure. So it's an ecosystem of games. There's three which are going live Q2 of this year, so literally just around the corner. One of them is called Illuvium Zero, and that's a mobile-friendly game, and that's basically a very simple city builder game where your aim is to generate fuel, and what you do with that fuel is either use it yourself to go and play the other games, or you can sell it to other players, and they then use that fuel in the overworld. The overworld is our second game, very similar to like a Power World or a Monster Hunter, Pokemon style game. You've got 7 beautiful regions for you to go and uncover. There's 200 unique 3D collectibles creatures for you to find. You've got to go around and uncover what happened on this mysterious planet, and from there you collect these creatures. You start putting them all together. They all have different synergies and classes, and that's important in our third game, which is similar to like Riot's Teamfight Tactics, where it's an auto battler. You put together a team of creatures, you go against other players, and you try and beat them with a combination of strategy and placement. It's exciting because with a blockchain game and the use of NFTs, it's all interoperable, which is a fancy word for basically connecting all assets between the different games. And yeah, it's super exciting. We're finally getting to the point of launch.
I love how you thought about the entire ecosystem kind of things combined together, and you will have different kind of players doing different kind of things. For example, I only played a bunch of video games, like Diablo was my go-to. The first edition was, I played until my body could take it back in the days. So I like what you guys are doing, because I can tell I would be a player who goes out in the open, finding those creators, and then maybe potentially sell them to other people they want to fight with. You also have a card game. So you kind of created a lovely ecosystem in between. People will have a different type of players. They can play the game in so many different ways. And I'm super excited about this. I also agree with you 100%. I don't think there is any better use case from NFTs than games. Like, this is going to disrupt the industry forever. People are now playing. They need to basically buy the game, right? And pay to play, which is crazy. Instead of play and earn or play to earn. Do you think from a player perspective, is play and earn or play to earn enough? What do you think gamers want?
So what we're seeing at the moment is this blend of, like, the player base in crypto games is a blend of traders, NFT collectors, speculators. Like, they're fond of crypto and they like the idea of increasing their wealth in being early to this financial movement. Right now, where gaming comes in is most of the people in this space are kind of in that, like, 20 to 45-year-old bracket, right? And most people in that age bracket played games all the way through as they were growing up. And so it's not too big of a leap for them to look at things like collecting NFTs or doing day trading or buying meme coins, to then saying, okay, well, this is another way that I can increase my wealth, and playing a game, which I used to do without earning anything, right? And so that potential piques the interest of a lot of people in this space, and it's very easy for them to sort of migrate across and start playing these games. The issue historically has been the games are pretty right? Like, they're not that much fun. And when it comes to what I think is really going to propel us forward outside of the small bubble, which, yes, there's 3-4 million people that are playing these crypto games, but there's billions of people that are playing mainstream games, right? So it's still a very large portion, but it's nowhere near what it could be. And so what I think it takes to get to that next level is the combination of the two. So a really immersive, fun, entertaining game that has an IP that lasts, where people get addicted to it. They would love to see more stuff outside of the gaming industry, like things like movies or TV shows, something like that that's really, really compelling, that also has the ability for people to earn. And as you said, right, like, go into the overworld, capture a creature that someone else is looking for, you sell that on the marketplace. If you're having an awesome time finding that creature, battling it, and then capturing it, selling it is the cherry on top, right? And that's when you start crafting this narrative, and it arms the people, the players, to be able to go out and tell their friends. You know how we used to grow up and we played Diablo or World of Warcraft, or we're playing Fortnite or whatever. I'm playing a game that's just as fun as that, but there's this added ability for you to earn, and not everyone is going to be able to earn, and maybe you don't earn life-changing money or whatever, but there's still that potential there, which is going to be appealing to almost everyone on the planet, right? And so I think that is when when we get to a point where we can add both of those together, that's when you're going to see a massive amount of player adoption coming into crypto, and it just makes sense.
Super well said. I mean, one of the most exciting things for me is the digital ownership part of it, right? So even if, like you said, it's not going to make you a millionaire by playing the game, you still have ownership on the asset. I remember back in the days when I used to play Diablo, the version 1 didn't have a storage for your gold. So you would have this Tristan, which was the town, full of gold, like gold coins. I think it was 10,000 a block or something. And the amount of times I thought, I wish I could do something with this, I would be rich. It could have even been a discount in the game, a t-shirt, whatever. Let me use my hard work gold that I accumulated even to play in game or to buy stuff in game. And it's natural, like you said, you combine digital ownership, you combine NFTs into the games, you combine the fun. It has to be fun to play. I completely agree with you. It has to be the cherry on top saying, hey, I'm playing anyway, so I might as well monetize this thing, I'm sure you remember the Pokemon Go kind of exploded with those phones, but then it's gone nowhere. Like, I don't think they've managed to address all those interests coming from the people literally going out and quote exercise and capturing Pokemons. There was, I don't know if you remember in the news, people falling off bridges and
yeah. That's the crazy thing, and I often use that as an example, right? Because everyone in that age bracket as well understands and knows the Pokemon IP and how nostalgic that is, right? And if you use that example, it's very easy for someone to understand, right? Like, you've got two games. Pokemon in 2025 brings out a game that has NFTs and ownership in it, and the exact same game that has no ownership in it. Now, one has a marketplace, one doesn't have a marketplace, right? Players that go and play the crypto version are going to be able to own their Bulbasaur that they get, or their Charizard, or whatever it is. And if that's a super rare character, they're able to go onto a marketplace, they're able to sell that. Do you think the player experience is going to be better for the people that have ownership versus the ones that don't? Like, of course it is. And I think the reason why people are pushing against the idea of NFTs in the mainstream is because the games have not been fun to play, right? Like, traditionally, they've been very basic, and the most compelling messaging is, hey, you're going to be able to make money playing this game. And gamers are like, I don't want to make money out of playing a game. I just want to play a fun game. But when you combine it to be, fun plus this ability to, wow, actually I got something that's worth $20, like that, like, what the hell? Like, that's a crazy situation. That's when it starts to sink in. And I think mainstream, it's inevitable, right? Like, it just, in 10 years time, I feel like almost every single developer is going to have seen the light, and gamers are going to demand it from studios in the future.
I agree. I think we'll see a phase where people are going to tell each other, remember in 2024, people play game and didn't get paid? It didn't own the asset?
Yeah.
How sad was that? It's one of those things that's going to only in retrospective. And also think about interoperability. I have my asset. I can play multiple games. Like, imagine if I own one of your monsters, I can use it somewhere else maybe, as long as you guys have built some sort of a bridge. Or I could buy a car and race the car in 3 different video games because I own the car, right? Whether now I buy the video game and the video game owns everything. I don't even have the asset myself. So when the asset will be into a decentralized network, potentially Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, it doesn't matter. I own it, which means I can use it, I can sell it, I can buy it, I can loan it. You will see people going and buying things to rent them to people to use to play. So we're going to create so much layers on the normal gamings that is going to blow people's mind. And like you said, the narrative now is like, yeah, games are terrible designed. Yeah, because it takes time to build a good thing. Like, look at what you guys have been building for years. Like, it's not like you turn a switch and you have a AAA game. It takes time. But as soon as the Pandora box is open and you have a beautiful product like you guys are doing, well, then guess what? All those big names, what they are going to do, they're going to try and buy companies. Like, think about Microsoft, they bought everything, LinkedIn, Skype. They are buying things because they missed the train. So whoever is not proactively building, they're going to scoop up the companies later on, because Web3 and games, I do believe 1000% is the perfect marriage for sure.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And yeah, that interoperability that you talk about is so powerful in our ecosystem, that the creatures that you capture, that's your access pass to any additional games, right? So you, again, using the example of Diablo, we're going to be building a dungeon crawler at one point, and you will literally be able to use the creatures that you have in your wallet from that you've caught in the overworld, a completely different game, and they will be accessible in the dungeon crawler when that comes out, or the kart racer, right? Like that, your alluvial will turn into the kart that you're racing around the track and you're battling other people on. And so you're not paying for additional games, you're literally just collecting them in this other game. And the cool thing there is you can collect an alluvial that's, say, 10 years old. Let's say 10 years from now we come out with a brand new game and you've got the Genesis set because you were here in 2024. Now we're in 2034, and all of a sudden you're racing around with this character that is super, super rare. No one else has. You're kind of like, the hell? Like, how do I get that? The only way to get that, because once a set finishes in Illuvium, we will never mint those alluvials again, is to buy it off someone else on the marketplace. So then you have this price appreciation of assets over time as they get rarer, and it's all made possible because you have verifiable ownership over your asset.
It kind of reminds me, showing my age here, but it reminds me of the early days of the internet where you had to connect into it and dial into it, right?
I was there.
Do you remember when we had Alta Vista and Netscape? I remember when I was working for a design company and we were trying to push because, web was the new thing, and, advertisement was so broken. Like we used to do paper advertisement, right? And then my argument was, when I was going to clients like big names like Ferrari, like big names in Italy, and I was telling them, well, here's the thing. When you print an ad on paper, you don't know who's watching it. You just only who's buying the newspaper, but you don't know who's flicking on that page. It's just page 29. Who knows? It's like a gamble. You just do a math based on the amount of newspaper you sold. Now, with the web, we can tell you exactly who has gone into that page, for how long, where they clicked, way more than a newspaper. And I was just going to this company and pitching them to invest into this thing. And they were telling me, man, it's too complicated. You need to dial into it. It's too expensive. I can't use the phone while I'm in the internet, so it's not going to work. It's not portable. You guys are crazy. It doesn't go anywhere. Emails, I don't need emails. I got the post office. I don't need that. Now, you fast forward 25 years later, emails are too slow. And people actually are worried where they are not connected. The first thing people ask is the Wi-Fi password, right? So we made a major 360. So I think from a gamer perspective, I would like to have your view here. It's probably the same thing. Oh, the blockchain is too complicated. How do I connect? It doesn't matter. The Ethereum, the NFT is all a scam because you need to go to the blockchain. Who has time? It's going to be integrated. You don't even have to do anything, right? It's a new tech. It's going to grow. It's going to give people tools, and it's going to take the entire sector to a new level where you will have apps, you will have things working for you. You will have games. You don't even have to worry about the wallet and the blockchain. It's going to be all smooth, connected into one click. And little you are making money. Do you also see the challenge of kind of onboarding a bunch of people into a kind of a new tech?
100%. But like we saw with the internet, right? Like once you start seeing some wins inside of that sector and that industry, all of a sudden VC money pours in, right? And you get billions and billions and billions of dollars of capital that is all focusing on solving different problems, but probably broken out into like 4 or 5 of them, right? Like infrastructure is one of them, onboarding is another one, like the security of users is another one. And so everyone, you got all these developers that are sitting here trying to solve the exact same problem because they know that the solution is a much better experience for an industry that is worth more than the entire movie industry and and combined with the music industry. So you've got movies and music. Gaming is bigger than that, right? So VCs, they do their analysis and they go, yep, we need to pour money into this. And the guys that are big enough, you see, they do a full circle investment strategy and thesis where they say, we're going to work on the infrastructure, we're going to work on the actual game, so we have the good quality stuff coming through. And you see that in a very, very fast pace, things go from being cumbersome to too hard. The UX is too old. It doesn't look good for new users coming in, and there's too many barriers to entry, and it costs too much to get started. All of these things we've been working on for the last 4 years straight as a gaming industry to reduce. Now you've got frictionless experiences that cost you nothing, right? Like, in order to onboard an Illuvium, you need a passport, account with IMX. Now, that is literally Apple Connect, and you've got it. Now, it will create a wallet for you, and you can go and start playing Illuvium. It won't cost you anything. We literally have 50, 60 characters which you can capture for free. You can travel to free regions. So you can do the whole gameplay loop inside of Illuvium and not capture an Illuvial and not even know that you have ownership of this asset. Now, 4 years ago, we were sitting there trying to work out throughput and if we would be able to get more than 10,000 users playing inside the same game, right? So there's exponential growth across all of these different areas that require, that basically end up being making the entire experience seamless for the player. And that's where we're at now. And so, we were very worried 4 years ago, like, how long is this going to take? Like, L2 solutions were this, like, they exist, but how accessible are they, and how scalable are they? Now you've got 10 L2s that gaming companies can choose. And so it's such a, when you find new age things like crypto, like the internet, people see it and the money follows, and then you get this rapid growth.
I have so much respect for you guys, like building honestly the foundation for the next level of gaming. If you think about it, Immutable is doing fantastic. And I completely agree with you. I also feel like it's going to be exponential, the level of build and growth. Like, think about electricity, for example. When it was invented, they couldn't even see the Wi-Fi technology, right? They couldn't see what we built on electricity. And now, fast forward centuries, we now have the Wi-Fi, which is basically built on electricity. So we can't even comprehend what those layer ones and layer two is going to allow people build. And as soon as you have another block, you then open another 1,000 blocks for people to build on top of it. So we are digitalizing most of the things. And what we are missing now is that part, it's my opinion, which is the digital ownership of the asset. You're going against a well-established industry. And most of the players, I don't know what you think here, but like I said, in my small experience, there is a portion of them, they're maybe speculators, they want to go into a project to then monetize it later. But I don't think I've seen personally someone who's fundamentally excited as much as we are, but is a traditional gamer. They actually hate blockchain. No, we don't need the blockchain into games. You guys are going to ruin it, because they are missing what you guys are adding into this. Are you also seeing this kind of friction coming from traditional gamers? Have you experienced it yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So we partnered with the largest esports company in the world, in Team Liquid, and we were very cautious with how we were exposing the game, right, to these Team Liquid members. And so what we did is we partnered with the ones that our arena game is quite a niche genre of games. The auto battler market is probably like 30 million people, which again, it's ridiculously large, but not in the context of gaming overall. And so for us, it was easy to go to Liquid and say, hey, we need, call it 8 of your best auto battler talent, whether they came from and TCGs, so like Hearthstone, as well as Teamfight Tactics. And we went to them and we said, okay, these are going to be the guys that have an audience that are like open to this genre, right? Like, if you go and show a first person shooter fan a strategy based game, they're going to be like, get the hell away, it doesn't make sense. We didn't even do that. So we went to the bottom layer and we were like, you are used to this streamer who you trust and is, you love and you support, and they're playing a game that is very similar. So it's not like you need to be educated, you understand the mechanics. It's close enough to these games that they used to. It was like we were watching. I was going onto these streams personally, and because I was very excited to see like what's the reception going to be like from mainstream gamers, like true gamers. And you'd watch people and they'll be like, whoa, like what are you playing, right? Like this is awesome. The graphics look great. These graphics look better than TFT. Like, how's the gameplay? I've never seen this game. What's it called? And the minute that they worked out that it affiliated with crypto at all, even though the streamer was like, you don't need to play with crypto, which you don't, like that. They weren't lying. Like, you don't in our game. It's completely free to play. It's on the Epic Store. You don't need a wallet. None of that matters if you don't want it to. And it didn't matter. It was like, you have partnered with a crypto company. You're now the devil, right? And they're sitting there going like, what? Like, you just before that, you made several comments saying it looked cool, it was awesome. You know nothing about like the mechanics of the game, like if it's play to earn, like none of that was said. And it was like, you're crypto, you're bad, you've sold out. And it was a big eye opener for us. Like, it made me realize that we are still, I know this phrase gets used a lot, but this whole we're so early, it is very much true when it comes to gaming in crypto, right? Like, we're probably still 4 or 5 years away from mainstream people adopting it, accepting it, and then turning it into something that they start, you know, telling their friends that, hey, I can't believe you're not into this. This is amazing. And, them not being shunned by their friends and whatever like that.
NFTs have got so much bad press, because people fail to realize the technology. They only see, oh, there is monkey in JPEGs. I can right click and download them for millions. What is this? It's a scam. Again, they fail to understand it's digital ownership, right? And everyone hates them. I love NFTs. I love the technology. I don't necessarily have a monkey JPEG. I couldn't care less. But it's a technology. So when you focus on the protocol, you can then start building services. Whether people stop on the JPEG and say, I can download it. Yeah, but you don't own it. If you go to the museum and take a photo of the Mona Lisa, it's not yours, mate. You know?
Yeah.
Again, they don't get it. It's too early. I completely agree. If you think about it in terms of opportunity, you want to get in early, because then at some point when this whole thing is going to be out in the open, well, then the value will be less. I think we will see a point where people are going to actually look back into these days and thinking, oh man, I actually missed a train there, because I could have done certain things even just by looking into projects like yours, Illuvium. You guys have been around for a few years. You've been building, you've been giving values. And at some point, all this work is going to combine the timing of the market, and people are going to finally connect all the dots, and they're going to go, oh, this was NFTs are in the end. And I think we're going to rebrand them into digital assets or digital collectibles. There's going to be a soft rebranding so that they kind of, these are digital collectibles. Do you also have the same feeling about this?
Yeah, I do, right? Like my conviction hasn't changed whatsoever, right? First of all, I think that crypto, the biggest disruptor of crypto is going to be in the financial industry, right? Like the ability to send money peer to peer instantly with no third party intermediary is fascinating to me, and has been since, basically like Bitcoin first came out. And so, I truly believe that some of these, similar to what AI is going to do to different industries, crypto is going to disrupt a whole bunch of sectors. And it's when you start getting a few big wins, right? Like big mainstream wins, like the Bitcoin ETF, right? Like that was a huge play that's touched millions and millions of people. And you get a few of those across a bunch of different industries. And then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, we should pay attention, right? Like AI's moment was Chat GPT, right? It was so easy for someone to think, okay, well, I'm just gonna test this out. I'm gonna chuck a prompt in, and then all of a sudden they get something better than what they could write in a million years, and they're like, well, this is the greatest thing in the world, right? Like that's a mainstream use case that I think we need to get to. And when you start finding like a PayPal, for example, goes into adding their own crypto wallet, and all of a sudden you've got a billion people that are onboarded. It's very easy for them to understand. They know that it's more secure because their trusted partner of PayPal of 25 years or whatever is there with them. And so I think we need to tally up a few of those moments across different industries inside of crypto, and then like before we know it, 10 years will go by. We'll look back, and people will be like, "Of course, I use cryptocurrency to transfer money overseas. Like, of course, I'm playing a game that is connected to the blockchain, and I have ownership of my assets." Right? Like, what? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's going to get to a point where people are like, you don't know about this. And yeah, I think it's a very compelling use case across so many different industries that it's inevitable.
I agree. There's going to be like that kind of, what's wrong with you, man? You're playing, you don't own the asset kind of thing. I completely agree. And by the way, the funny thing is those things are already happening. Like you can go on eBay and buy usernames in video games. You can buy items in game. So there is a market for it. It's just like there is no technology. Like, okay, they're using eBay because that's the best they can do. Or, I remember when I played World of Warcraft and Diablo, those are the only two games I played extensively. And I remember being approached by people, hey, do you want to buy some gold? You send me some dollars and I'll send you. So there is a market there. It's already happening. It's like, and what you guys are providing is like, well, you can do it, but better. You can provide the same service that people want, because it's clear that people want to buy progress in game. Like if I work and I have a good income and I want to play and I want the best sword or the best thing, and some dude in whatever country found it, well, sell it to me, man. I'll pay.
For so long now, the narrative for these naysayers and the people that spread a bunch of negativity about it is, oh, it's crypto is only used for like things like drug payments, and it's very black market, and like the transactions are very dubious. Like, I don't know, there's a lot of nefarious activity going on. But if someone wants to do something, right, like they will find a way in this world. And that example that you just gave, the people playing a game in World of Warcraft Blizzard, they say, no, you're not allowed to sell your character's progress, you're not allowed to sell your gold, that's against our policies. People go, whatever, right? Like, I'm going to do it anyway. And they find a way. They go onto eBay, they do an OTC, right? Like, there used to be people who would meet up on corners, and because you couldn't guarantee that they were actually going to send you the gold, right? So you wanted to make sure it was an in-person transaction where you send that to me or you transfer your account details to me, and then I will watch you transfer the $100 or the $1,000 or whatever it might be. And that's like, think about how black market that is. Think about how dangerous that is, right? Like, you've got these kids meeting up on the streets with adults, or adults meeting a 16-year-old who's like, yeah, I would just don't, I might have a bit of money, my parents do, and I just want to get up to where my friend is. So they meet this shady dude on the street who's selling them like $1,000 account. Like, wouldn't you want to make that a secure thing that doesn't require these steps to try and go around all of these different policies that these games have been making for 20 years now? Yes, it makes it safer, because people aren't just going to accept, no, I don't want to do that, right? Like, I've just spent 5 years on this game, and there's these other people out there that have figured out a way to sell their account for $1,000. I'm not going to do that because it's against the rules. That's just not how human nature works, right? Like, so if we can build the infrastructure to facilitate that in a safer way, then that's something that crypto is doing to actually make people's lives better and more efficient. And it's against the black market trade that has been going on inside of games for eternity.
if you wish to use a open and transparent and decentralized network to do shady activity, you are not the smartest of the criminals. Right? I mean, you want to use the dollar. The dollar is the easy way to be anonymous. You want to stay away from open, transparent, and decentralized because that's not built for criminals. And like you said, besides all those beautiful points you just made, it's going to help the game itself. Like it's going to foster an environment where people will like to play, and when they are tired, they sell their progress, and someone is going to jump in, buy the progress, keep going, and resell it. So the game is going to go on forever. Whether in the opposite directions, companies like Blizzard have to go back and reopen Diablo and reopen old school games to create their nostalgia, to basically sell some copies and tap into kind of old people markets. Whether if they could only look forward and tap into the new generation and explain how valuable tapping into this technology will be. But isn't that the case with any technology? Like I was talking to a friend last night, and he said back in the days when the car was invented, there used to be a dude with a flag in front of the car. And the purpose of the dude was to warn people, hey, there is a car, watch out, there is a car. Now Tesla drives itself. So we've seen, a huge progress in technology. And there is always like the blockers people don't comprehend because ignorance is always there and people don't want to spend time in looking into it. They are not invested as you and me. I mean, I look into the blockchain daily as much as you. You built a fantastic product. So of course we are invested into this thing. But equally, you have other people, they have their own kind of bubble. They are comfortable. They play a game, which has been built in certain ways. And as soon as they see something new, they go, no, I don't understand this. Hence, I hate it,
It's interesting that you use the car industry as one example, because that actually happened to me. I was like, put myself in the consumer's shoes when electric started becoming really popular, and I started thinking like, okay, but yeah, these cars are faster, and yes, they're better for the environment, but the thing that attracts me to cars is the engine, that pure sound of rumbling and exhilaration that you get from hearing the engine. And so I was like, this just isn't going to work, right? Like I'm actually against it, right? Like I don't like the idea of these super fast cars. When the Tesla was breaking all of the records and just smoking Ferraris and Lamborghinis and stuff like that, I was kind of like, yeah, but I mean, it's a Tesla. You know what I mean? Like I was one of those people that was like, well, that's a blockchain game, so I'm not going to touch it. And now you look at it and they've started, obviously, electric cars have come a long way, but now they've started building these hybrid cars, which are so much better for the environment. You still get the sound. You get the beauty of the fast pace of the electric vehicle, and you get it all in one, right? And that's that sort of utopian situation where I'm saying you get a fun game, but you also have this ability to earn as well, right? And when I started looking at these new hybrid cars that were coming out, I was like, well, these are awesome, right? Like even the hyper cars that are coming out now. I saw a Bugatti the other day, and it's like, I don't know, whatever, it's like 1.8 seconds. And the sound of it was ridiculous, but we could only get there by having an electric engine. And that would have been something where I was like, no, I'm completely against it. And now I'm kind of like, you know what? I was wrong, right? Like that whole industry is pushing the entire automobile sector forward, and it's so much better for the environment, and there are so many other advantages for it. Like, I'm an idiot, why didn't I think of it? And I think that's going to be a similar situation in crypto gaming.
I agree, kind of best of both world kind of situation, but again, you just because you open yourself to the thing. And by the way, I'm a motorcycle guy, and the first time I tried the Harley Davidson with no engine sound, I was like, what is this? Like punch me in the face. Like the only reason why I want a motorcycle is because I want to feel it, I want to hear it. If you just like, if it goes like, I don't, it's not for me. So I'm with you, buddy, 100%. But is there anything you would like to add, Kieran, on the call today?
No, I think we've gone through it all. I've really enjoyed the conversation. It's been awesome.
Yeah, likewise, man. You are an absolute amazing individual. I thank you so much for your contribution. We need more company like you guys pushing the boundaries, showing what is possible, producing amazing games. And I think the next 5-10 years are going to be incredible. So, of course, I will link in the comments down below everything about Illuvium, but I'm sure everyone knows already. You're a fantastic game, but it's going to be there in the comment. Kieran, thank you so much, man. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show.
Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Come on anytime.
Nice. And thank you guys for watching. We'll see you on the next one.